Hi, this is Jim Obermeyer, and this is Golden Moments. I'm continuing today on fear. And the other day I talked about the fear of man, and I'd like to continue to talk about that. I live in America, if you're watching this from another country, and I'm very happy that God has put me in America, the United States of America, because I think it's a great country. It's had its problems, of course, like every country. One of the main problems that I saw was the corruption in government, the pandemic that we saw recently, and talking about the fear of man. I can only say this, that I know of a couple of situations where the government, of course, tried to shut down churches. I believe that's unconstitutional. I could tell you stories. For a while, I worked for hospice as a chaplain. And during that time, especially during the lockdowns, I did go into the COVID ward in the hospital, I believe once or twice. I also dealt with other people. And I'll never forget some of the things that were told me, but I am talking about the fear of man. The fear of man, could that also be the fear of government, of unconstitutional mandates? The mandate about closing churches when many other places were open. Costco was open. There were grocery stores open. I'll never forget when it first started, I was in a grocery store and they had those arrows on the floor. And I went the opposite way down an aisle. There was one lady in that aisle and she was bending down with her face covered. And I went to look in something that just happened to be a little close to her, and she looked up at me and ran the other way. The fear that had gripped people because of what was told them about this. I believe that, as I'm going to state, I know of several churches. I know of one church that did not lock down, and when the people got in, they locked the doors. It was in a very liberal state. And it wasn't a large church, but they were safe. And the people survived, believe it or not. Another church I know with about 6,000 members didn't lock down except when they got about 1,000 death threats. And then the pastor did lock down for a time and then reopened on Pentecost Sunday with many other churches. We need to do what God wants us to do, not what man tells us to do. And that's what it's all about too. So the fear of man can be stifling, but you do not need to let it happen to you. Trust God and he'll see you through.